All right, so here we are. Welcome back. Finally, yay! We've done this mushroom. We've done the watermelon mushroom. We're gonna do the bumblebee mushroom today. So, as you can see here, these were my practice ones, of course. I think this one came out really cute. The eyes got a little too big for me. I might shorten those, flatten them out a little bit. But it's a really minimal color usage on this, but a simple design. So you might want a ruler or a straight edge of some kind to help you along, and the pencil with an eraser, and we will get started. We're gonna go to this sheet that I've done some final products on. I worked more on this little baby guy. I haven't quite done the baby on the pumpkin, but we're gonna do this one here. Turn that just a little bit. So I hope you guys can zoom in and take a look at that. What I've done is I've drawn some lines here to separate my colors for yellow and black. And I've listed out some colors here that we'll be using on the stump. 148, 1082, and 948. And I did a light coat of number 140, just on the two stumps that you can see there. So the last color you want to use are your dark colors on this, because you're working with such bright colors like yellows. You don't want that black to get smeared in as you're applying the yellow. So you want to do that black color last. So we're actually going to start with color 942, which is a yellow ochre. And we're going to go ahead and do every other line. Now, I like to leave the top of mine black. You can choose your variation of colors how you like. But again, this is just a simple design for a bumblebee themed mushroom. You can do this any way you like, a more advanced design if you like. I just like to keep it simple so that everybody can follow along. So what I'm doing here is applying a darker yellow, just in a light coat to the outer edges where there would be some shadowing. Hopefully I'm still in view here and you guys can see that. Just going around those little circles on the mushroom there. Okay, so now I got a little bit of that 942 just around the edges there. I'm going to take my next yellow, which is going to be 916, and I'm just going to do a light layer of 916, not a heavy layer here, because we're still going to apply a couple more layers to get that deep yellow color on a bumblebee. I mean, of course, you can change these colors too if you want a super bright yellow or a more dulled out yellow. Okay, got my first one done. And again, I'm not pressing hard. I'm just putting down a first layer in each one of these. Okay. So now I'm going to take 917, which is your sunburst yellow, and I'm going to apply another layer right over that, starting from the edges and working my way in. Just a nice, fun design and something different you can do with your mushrooms instead of your typical colors that you would do normally. Okay. Move up to your next one, do the same thing, just repeat that. Working from darkest to lightest. Okay. Don't worry if you can still see some of the grainier paper. You won't when you're finished. And my next yellow color I'm going to use is 1035, which is your neon yellow. And I'm going to go right over that. Again, working from dark to light. And this is really going to make that color stand out now. So you want to make sure you're blending really well so you don't see the lines from the previous colors, especially around those edges where you applied that darker yellow. And you can apply a little bit more pressure here, but remember, you'll still want to do one more coat even after you lay down that black, just in case that black gets into that yellow too much. Don't worry too much if it does, it's okay, but you don't want it to get into that yellow so much that you can't see your details. But as you can see, this neon yellow works really well to brighten that yellow up, and yet you can still see the shading or the deeper yellow along the edges there. Okay, So once you have that finished, you can move on to your next color, which is going to be shockingly 1067, which is your 90% cool gray. And I'm going to start up here at the top so I'm not smearing my black color as I go from bottom up. So I'm just going to make a nice line here between my yellow I'm going to do a nice coat of this cool gray. And this cool gray will really make your black darker. You can use other colors underneath black to make it darker, such as dark greens. Black actually has green pigment in it. But I like to use my grays. Okay, now I got a nice coat there. And I'm going to move on to the next row. Again, following that nice line I have. And I'm going to do that final one. Again, drawing that, just going around that edge there with the pencil. Myself a nice coat here. Again, I'm still working in small circles to cover up that white. Although I'm still not pressing hard because I'm just getting a layer down. All right, with that done, I'm going to grab my black, which is 935, and I'm going to go over each one of those lines I did with that gray. And this time I'm pressing just a little bit harder, maybe a medium pressure, medium to light. I'm still not pressing hard. You really don't need to press hard with Prismacolors. Working along those edges and then doing some small circles just to blend those two colors together to get that nice deep dark appearance. If you get some colored pencil dust, don't wipe it away with your hand. Blow it away or use a pencil brush. And I'll show you that here in just a second. Because you don't want to smear those dark colors into your light colors. It's really hard to get rid of that if you do it. And now your lines don't have to be perfectly even, by the way. I just happen to have drawn them that way. Okay, I got the first layer down on that top row. I'm going to go into my second row here. Paying attention to those edges and that line. Working around those little circles. Those little mushroom warts, I guess, or spots. And if your lines are not clean, that's okay. It'll get covered up in the end. You'll see the little trick I show you with your colored pencil to kind of give some little fibers or little hairs on there. And I don't know if you've noticed we haven't really used any blending tools or chemicals to do this. One, you don't need to. If you do this right, you don't need to. I know a lot of people struggle with that, and they like to use different things to blend with. Now, I do use them, but for certain things. And it's not to say that you can't. You're more than welcome to. It does stretch out your colored pencils, and it does make for a different look depending on what you're using them for. The blending pencils are great for a certain aesthetic or for giving a different texture. They do really work well. Your brighteners and burnishers are just that, though. Again, remember that. Your brighteners and burnishers will burnish your paper and brighten the colors that you've laid down. They're not necessarily blenders, although they will blend a little bit. They're not designed to blend your colors. They're designed to burnish that color into the grain of the paper. Easier than using the pencil to put a lot of pressure. Okay, so here we go, moving on to that final row. And again, I'm using a medium to light pressure. Still not pressing heavy and just following along what I laid down previously. And don't worry if you can still see the grain of your paper. Again, that will get filled in as you do your finishing touches. Okay, so once you got those layers down, you'll want to come back and repeat that with your charcoal gray and your black. So what that's going to do is, for one, it's going to start to really darken that up. And you'll notice that you'll start to get a little bit more shine on your paper. That's when you notice that you're starting to burnish that paper. And your black will really start to stand out. So we'll just do this top part really quick so you can see what I'm talking about. And you'll notice that the white of that grain of that paper's pretty much gone now on this top portion. Now I'm going back over it with my black. Again, I'm still not pressing hard because you shouldn't have to press very hard at this point as you're applying that final layer of color. And if you still need to burnish because you're seeing flecks of white, you might want to try a lighter paper, or if you are using a light touch, your touch might be a little bit too light. And you can use a burnisher at that point if you need to. So again, let me grab that pencil brush I was telling you about. So this is a type of pencil brush I was referring to, where you can brush away your color without smearing your colors. These work really great and are fairly inexpensive. So these are nice to have around. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and you can take your white pencil and you can carefully just put a little bit of white inside those little bubbles. All you're doing is keeping them white. You're not trying to make the color stand out. You're just putting a little coat in there. That's all you're doing. You're going to go back over those with your white gel pen. And I like to do that in the end after I've done my final touches. That way, I'm not interfering with my other colors. Okay, so I got a little bit of that white laid down in there. Still focusing on this. So once you've finished completing your final coats of the blacks and the yellows, then you're going to want to go ahead and come back. And I like to use a sharp black pencil to do this next part. And I'm only going to show you on the top. First, I want to add that final coat of yellow up here to my Bumblebee there. Which normally, like I said before, I would do before I applied the rest of that black. Just because I don't want to get any black in here. And I'm using my neon to press down just a little bit more. So I'm brightening up that yellow. Just giving it that final pop of color. You'll see some of the black got in there because I added it after the fact. Well, that's all right. This is just for a tutorial. So don't do that. Make sure you apply your bright colors before you apply your dark colors. Now, if you take your black pencil, I can turn this just a little bit to show you better. What I like to do to make those little hairs is I like to go right up here and, into the dark part and do quick, short strokes downward. What you're doing is you're using some of that pigment from before, and you're also using the pencil. Just short, quick strokes. They don't have to be even lines. They can be all different lengths. You can use a burnisher to do this. Okay, so you can see what I've done there. It just kind of gives that a little bit of a fiber look, some hairs, some fine hairs. And you can do that for each row of your black, working up and down. And that'll give it some of those hair-like structures that you'll see on a bee. Okay, so once you've done those and you've finished adding all your color, and you could take your white gel pen, and this is a broad point Signo white gel pen. Test it on the corner here. And I like to go in and fill in those little mushroom spots. This keeps it looking like a mushroom top. Plus, I think white was a good choice of color here. So you can do these any color you like. I prefer to just keep it white. Okay. Oh, I think I missed this one. I can't remember. Oh, I smeared that one. Never a perfect video. Okay, so now, hypothetically, we're done with this part. What I forgot to mention, though, is you can draw in with your little pencil, your little eyes at the top. I thought they were kind of too high last time, so I'm just going to draw some half circles here. Short little half circles. And do my little antennae off the eye like that. And in order to get that shiny eye look, I did use my silver pencil inside the eye there. And then I used my black pencil around the outside and for the feeler tips. So I used my black pencil. I'm sure you can make it look much prettier than that, but that's just an example. Okay, so moving down to the stump, once you've completed that portion, take your color 140, and that's in order to get the look that I have, and just make a nice coat of the 140 all over your stump and in your skirt right here. That's going to be your base coat for working. And then I'm going to take color number 1059, and I'm going to start using that for my shading around the edges here. And around that window. By the way, you can draw that little round circle in with your pencil as well. It's pretty simple to do. Or you can leave it out. I drew it in because I thought it made it look a little cuter. And I'm just applying some basic shadowing here. Nothing too extreme. I'm not making it perfect because, again, nothing in nature is perfect. And I'm going up here to the little part. Just going around those fine edges. And I'm not going to do this upper part yet. Now I'm going to take color. Where'd it go? 948, which is my sepia. And using a light touch, I'm going to do some more of that shading around here with that darker brown. It's going to give it more of an earthy color instead of a lighter color. Working my way around that window. Do the same up top. Okay. I'm gonna actually use this and go around that window over my regular pencil, just the outside of it there. Okay. Now I'm gonna come back and grab color 1064, or excuse me, 1068. Just gonna kind of blend away a little bit of that super dark color. Just give it more of a natural earth tone and a natural appearance. A nice even look to it there. I'm gonna do the same on the bottom. And you should notice your colors blending really well together. And you still got your up lights and your low lights here. Okay. Put a little more up top here. Okay. Oops. Got some dust going on down there. Okay. So once you have that basic layer in, now you can come back and take your where'd it go? Your 1068, which is your French gray. And I like to go over the top where that skirt is, along those edges, just to apply a little bit of shadow there. And then I come in with my darker pencil. Go around the bottom. Okay, now I'm gonna take 948, and I'm gonna come in from the sides again and just lightly bring in some of that darker color, going along the veins, as you can see there, going up around the top and the edges and the bottom. It's just putting some shadow into those deeper areas. Okay. So now I'm going to take my 948 and I'm just going to go around the very edge to define this. Just because I really want some shadow here. I'm going to give it some nice lines going up to kind of give it a woodsy look or a root look. Go around that window. Get around these fine details here. Okay, and just like above, you can work your skirt in the same manner, going over it, adding highlights. It's a pretty simple picture, but when I finish the window down here, I'll let you guys finish your designs there. So what I did is I took my 916 and I filled in that window. Filled in each little pane that I had made here. And then I took my super bright yellow chartreuse and I went over that. It gives it a really bright yellow appearance. Okay. Then I took my black gel pen and I outlined around that window. Keeping the far left side just a little bit thicker. Gives it some depth. Oops. There you have it. Ooh, I got a little wide there. A little sloppy. You can also take your jelly roll neon yellow and use that inside the window if you choose. That comes out cute as well. So I will let you guys work on your bumblebee mushrooms. Don't forget to add your final coats, your final details, and finish your stumps and add the rest of your layers and your colors and your fine little hairs. I hope you enjoyed this short tutorial as much as I did making it and sharing these different little mushrooms with you. I'm so glad that you guys tuned in. I'm looking forward to next time. Have a great day.